The Pet's Life with Gym Dog, Ireland's first pet resort by Des the Vet. Managed by vets, loved by pets. Daycare, vet care, premium pet food and grooming. Visit apetslife.ie.
Yeah, Tuesday afternoon it is, and a very good afternoon to you, Tuesday morning even at this stage. Hope you're enjoying your 11s, and being a Tuesday, it also means that Des Groom joins us in studio yet again. Hey, Des.
Hi, John. Good to be here.
You had me crying with that article you sent me.
Oh, yeah, I sent you an article from the Irish Times written by Jennifer O'Connell about a missing cat, which was kind of poignant, and it resonated with all of us because it's a very familiar story.
Yeah.
And Jennifer O'Connell, the journalist, she's a real animal lover. She covered the XL Bully story, and she interviewed me for an opinion piece about the XL Bullies and all the rest of it. She's very knowledgeable about animals. So she wrote about the family cat going missing.
That's a great
and then
story,
whatever length of time the cat was missing anyway, the cat turned up again.
Yeah.
And the cat was in distress and was injured and was brought to the vets. And they swore it was their own cat and so on.
Yeah.
And
the cat was
grieved. The cat was put to sleep because it was so badly injured, and they grieved for the loss of this cat. And then lo and behold, the missing cat rocks up in the door again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of months later.
I think she said he was a kind of a standard
black cat.
Cat, and you see them all the time.
Yeah.
These lovely, good-looking, handsome black tomcats.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to tell them apart.
Oh yeah, my story is very similar to that. But the gas thing about it was, which I loved, and as I was reading, coming to the end of the article that you sent me the other day, and I was reading it down through, and I was recapping there a few minutes ago before we came on air, and I was smiling to myself, thinking this is such a happy ending. I'm delighted, and the vet understood that it was the wrong cat that was euthanised, but had to be done anyway. But I think the crux of the story then goes to the last or second last paragraph, that at the end of the day he came back, sat in his spot where he eats the chicken, he gets the chicken bits being chucked at him. It's called the chicken corner, wherever in the article. I thought that was very funny as well. But then what happened was the shagger decided to leg it and not come back again.
And he's missing.
He's missing for a year now.
So they've grieved him twice. In effect.
I know.
But that is so typical.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
The only comfort or the only moral of the story.
Sorry to interrupt you there. Would he be a typical cat that might necessarily, or would have been neutered?
Yeah, he could be neutered or not neutered.
Because they don't travel as much if they
don't travel as much. Toms. But you see, if a tomcat is neutered, then he's friendly, he's domesticated, he'll settle and mix in the next house, all the better. And he might only be 400 metres down the road or 2 miles away, but that would be about the range. It could be a mile or two of a range. Yeah,
but I mean, even in that article, it does resonate with owners out there where, we give them the kibble, we give them the dry nuts and we know damn well that he's going 200 metres down the road and getting fed bits at the front door. Because even in that article, it was very funny where somebody was ringing around asking about their lost cat, and the early part of it turned out that the cat was going to 2 houses getting fed.
Yeah, and it's about the cat's behaviour.
Yeah.
They're solitary. They're hunters.
Yeah.
They have a territory.
Yeah.
And the territory is whatever they define in their own heads as being their territory. And the size of their territory is governed by how much competition there is in the area, how many other cats there are. Yeah. So if you live in a really busy built-up housing estate with lots of cats, your cat's territory might be only your own back garden. Yeah. On the other hand, if you live in the suburbs or a semi-rural environment, your cat's territory could be 2 miles. And that's his space. And he'll pick up whatever food he can within his zone, within his zone of influence, and he'll have the life of Riley.
Are cats, when it comes to hunting and living on their own, are the females more dominant than the males, or is it the case that the males do the hunting or females?
Yeah, females are better hunters, some people think. The males get a bit lazier as they get older. They hunt a bit less, but the males get friendlier and more social as they get older as well, if they're neutered. Males that aren't neutered will fight, and they'll pick up all the diseases from fights and bites, and they'll have shorter lives. So they do have to be neutered. And the only moral of that story about the missing cat is, by the way, cats should be microchipped just the same as dogs.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Because if a cat comes into us and it's missing, we'll always check for a microchip. And it happened to us recently that a cat turned up and had some injuries and was picked up off the road by a good Samaritan, and we treated the injuries and we checked it for a microchip, and lo and behold, it did have an owner. The owners were only a mile away as the crow flies across the other side of Kildare near the railway station, and we were able to return it to the rightful owners, and turns out he'd been missing for 3 months.
Right.
Yeah. It also did happen in my own family years ago when the children were young. We had a family cat called Blackie, and he was missing for 5 years. When I say he was missing, he went missing one day and that was it. He never came back.
Yeah.
And sadly, 5 years later, he turned up as a very old cat, and I recognised him instantly. He had an unmistakable white spot, and I had a picture of him on the computer, even though to my shame I didn't have him microchipped at the time. Now I would. Microchipping is such a thing. We do it all the time. Anyway, Blackie wasn't microchipped, but he turned up 5 years later for veterinary care in the ownership of another family in the town. And he had lived the previous 5 years that he had gone missing from us. He had been living, it turned out, only a mile away.
Okay, and you know, when some people, when they find stray cats, they do genuinely just feed them because that's the normal thing to do.
Yeah, we ran that neutering campaign there the back end of 2024.
Yeah.
And people took advantage of that neutering campaign, and they got some discounts or some vouchers from the KSPCA as well. And we had some people who were feeding 12 and 15 cats in their own yards.
Yeah.
Which are semi-feral, we'll say. They're cats that came in as strays, came in as wild cats, and were kind of civilised and tamed by being fed for years in people's back gardens. And when there was a neutering campaign being run, as I say, people were able to get them neutered.
Yeah. I saw a campaign actually, Des, about cat boxes. People were looking for the old small dog kennel type things to leave out in areas so that during the bad weather there recently, the cats could maybe find a location or whatever. Yeah,
I would say if you have a turf shed and you leave it open, it'll attract stray cats.
Yeah,
and you'll probably get dog kennels on adverts, and do you know these different websites where people, on Facebooks, where people are giving away stuff they don't need if they're moving house.
Yeah,
you can get old dog kennels from people in those places for free if you'll go and pick them up.
Yeah, and
there are people putting blankets into these, you know, kind of old shelters and have fat cats coming in at night and staying with them and so on.
Yeah, very good.
But don't, if you have an indoor cat and your own cat just goes out and comes back, something I always say is don't put out food unless you want to attract strays. Yeah, don't, because the problem with these semi-ferals is they carry all kinds of diseases. Yeah. So the crossover from a disease point of view between your lovely, tame, domesticated, soft house cat versus the hardy semi-ferals that are out and about. The crossover is that they will mix with each other, and the feral cats, the wild cats, they'll compete with your cat for resources, and your cat will end up getting sick, picking up worms, skin infections, flus, cat bites, all kinds of things from mixing with these semi-ferals. So don't put out food
we stopped doing that. I know in the early stages when we moved into where we moved into, we used to have semi-feral cats. There was two of them, a mother and a daughter that adopted us over for many years. But I remember we always used to feed them outside, and we got our next wave of cats. We decided, no, we'll just feed them inside and then let them out. Because that way it keeps away the other stray cats. Because if the others are hovering around at night time.
You see, I know it's lovely to look after the strays in the area, but they will make your own cats sick. So don't put out food for them unless you know what you're doing and unless you really want to have them around the place.
Do people rescue cats as much as they go to the rescue pounds as much as dogs?
So litters of kittens, I hear, do arrive into the pounds occasionally. So you can probably get kittens from the KWWSPCA and these kind of places. But adult cats, no, not so much.
Okay. I want to turn our attentions to, we're on the far side of Christmas now, and you know there's always a campaign that goes before Christmas where a dog or an animal is for life, not just for Christmas. Has that kicked in yet, where people are beginning to return stuff?
No. Well, listen, do you know what? I probably just need to make a call to somebody, the volunteers in the charity sector, and just get some feedback on that. But my impression as a vet is that no, that isn't the case. I think there's a lot less of the Christmas purchasing of dogs than there used to be. So there isn't that influx. There hasn't been an influx of new puppies coming into us in the last fortnight that are Christmas puppies as such. No.
But the other good positive thing is, I know there's the rescue centres and the pounds are really, really busy at the moment. But more and more people are beginning to take a chance on rescuing dogs, aren't they? Compared to the last few years.
They are now. Sadly, there's a good few of those XL bullies arriving into pounds.
Right.
And honestly, folks, I wouldn't recommend taking one in.
Right.
Because you never know the history, for sure.
Yeah.
And they're not a breed that I'd advise any family to take on.
Right.
As a pet, no. The breeds that I'd love to see people taking on as pets would be lurchers and greyhounds and whippets and all these things, because there's a surplus of those amongst the hunting community. And greyhounds and whippets and lurchers, they make lovely pets, and they are lovely gentle dogs, and they're low maintenance. The pounds are also quite full of those brachycephalic dogs. Now, by brachycephalic, I mean pugs and French bulldogs. And the reason why now there's plenty of those arriving into pounds is because although they're highly desirable and popular and valuable, they have a lot of health issues.
And it's cost.
And it's cost, and I think families run into difficulty with the cost of trying to manage a French bulldog with bad skin or bad breathing or all of these things, and they end up being fostered and rehomed and all the rest of it.
Somebody just messaged in, could you recap on the laws regarding XL bullies there?
The law is as of the 1st of Feb. If you have one, if you own one, you can keep it. There's no problem in regards to that. Nobody's going to try and make you put your XL bully down.
Right.
No. But what you have to do is you go on to the Kildare County Council, into the environment section, and ring up and ask for the dog warden's office. They'll email you or post you out the exclusion form.
Okay.
And that exclusion form, you fill it in, you get it signed and stamped by a vet, and you bring it into the dog warden's office in Kildare County Council, and then you get your exemption. Right? So providing your XL bully is neutered and microchipped, and you've filled in the exemption form, you can keep your dog
for life.
For life, no problem. So to call it a ban and to make a kind of a big cause out of it, it's unnecessarily emotive, as I say. It's nobody's going to force you to put your dog down. Just get it neutered, have a dog licence, have it microchipped, and get the restriction form filled in. So what it's about is that there needs to be a registration of them, so we know where they are, and that we're controlling the numbers of them by not allowing them to breed.
Okay, and that's what the main aim. Where are we going to see with this, in the next 5 or 6 or 7 years? Are we thinking really that XL bullies are going to be gone within 10 years' time?
Yeah, they'll be phased out.
Yeah. And that's the main thing.
They'll be phased out. Now, look, it's like gun control laws. The less guns you have out and about, the safer we all are.
Yeah.
I actually believe the less XL bullies we have out and about, the safer we all are too. And there'll be people now who'll hit the roof hear me say this. But on a practical level, proof is in the pudding. On a practical level, they're too big and strong and powerful to be a family pet.
Right, yeah.
No one needs to breed a dog that big and powerful.
No.
There's no safe reason for them to be that big and strong and powerful. And they what I call the jaw to cranium ratio, the type of big strong jaw they have is such that when they do bite, they do a lot of damage.
Okay, right. Fair enough.
It's not about the likelihood of them biting. No one is casting aspersions on their temperament or casting aspersions on your training of your dog. No. The problem is if and when you get the odd case of one of these that they do attack another dog, say, the damage they do is always worse than, we'll say, a lesser breed, a smaller breed.
Yeah, and that could lead to other issues as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's more or less kicked in. So just don't panic. If you are an existing owner, just get all the paperwork done, go to Kildare County Council, register, get it sorted, and you're good to go your dog. And that way, if there's something does materialise further down the tracks, it also means there's a tracking in process. You can track what's happened, you have all the paperwork, and there you go. Right, what else are we talking about, Des?
Cat neutering is still ongoing, still really important. If you have any cats out there, do get them neutered. We can do some type of a deal with you. I see lots of local practices are running January special offers. January is a quiet month in veterinary practices. Lots of practices are running offers on microchipping and offers on vaccinating and offers on neutering. So do have a look around and use January as an opportunity to get all your healthcare needs up to date with all of your dogs.
Okay. Peter was on. He says, thanks for your recommendations last week about infrared lamps. Our dogs love it in the shed. Absolutely love it. There's a nice red glow, and then the old warm weather comes along. But at least we have it for backup. Great idea. Thanks for the recommendations. Yeah, that was good because the bad weather when it came in, that a lot of people were thinking of ways of keeping their dogs.
Yeah, I actually mentioned it to a couple of clients in the practice this week who were in and out with older dogs. What we're seeing at the moment is that older dogs that have arthritis, they are stiffer, they're struggling a little, and it's because of the damp and the colder weather. So the ones that are outside in sheds, get them an infrared lamp. And if you have your dog indoors, put a carpet or a good rug under its bed so that it has a sure footing and a non-slip surface to get a grip when it's getting up out of its bed in the mornings. And if you notice your dog being a bit stiff and sore and having difficulty with its mobility at the moment, come and talk to us. There's loads of options out there with regards to arthritis medications and arthritis remedies that are available to us. More and more and more as time goes on, and we've newer drugs and better drugs.
Okay, Des, any recommendations how you can prevent your dog from eating his own bed all the time? And he's not a young fella by any means. He's 7 years of age and he's still eating blankets and eating stuff and tearing up things.
Yeah, that's an anxiety or a boredom.
A boredom thing, yeah.
Behaviour.
I read about that before, actually. Yeah.
A curious thing: our Bonnie, the retriever, she doesn't touch her own beds or her own blankets at home in our house. But if I bring her to work with me and see if it's a wet day and she can't be out at play, if we pop her in a kennel because it's raining or whatever, and she doesn't want to be there, she'll destroy whatever blanket is put under her.
Yeah.
So I see the direct link between boredom, anxiety, upset, don't want to be here, and they will destroy things. So if your dog is consistently doing that, then there's some change in his lifestyle needed. And if there are any other patterns of anxiety in his behaviours, have a chat to your vet. He might be a candidate for reconcile. You see, if that behaviour can't be remedied by a little change in routine, then he might be a candidate for the reconcile, which is an anxiety tablet.
Yeah.
And it's really useful. Now, I used to be kind of against this sort of medical help for dogs. I used to think, it's artificial and don't like to be drugging the dog and all the rest of it. But to be fair, I'm converted a little bit to the value of using these medications, because I see that their quality of life can improve when their anxiety levels are lower for the sake of a little half a tablet. And it doesn't change their behaviour and it doesn't change their health in any other way. It just settles down the anxiety and they'll become a bit less destructive. And then everybody in the family becomes a bit more relaxed.
Okay. When it comes to bedding in sheds and bedding in kennels and stuff like that, some people use old kind of pillows and blankets and stuff. Is that all okay to use?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Actually, thanks to Niall from the Equestrian Laundry in Curra Equestrian Laundry, because he dropped us in a load of old horse blankets.
We were talking about this last week, yeah.
Yeah, so good old, strong, sturdy blankets are great bedding for dogs. Carpet can even be good, especially for an older dog, because it gives them a bit of grip when they're getting up out of their bed. You can get these really good rubberized leather type of mattresses. Dogs love them. And they're not too expensive. Pets.ie and different websites like this, you can get them online. Big dogs as well, it's worth saying, people worry about this. Big dogs get calluses on their elbows and on their stifles from lying down on hard surfaces.
Yeah.
Now, if this has already happened, your big dog, like a German Shepherd, and he has these calluses on the elbows, they're no harm. And they'll be there for life. There isn't a lot you can do about it. But starting them at a young age on a nice mattress can help to prevent these calluses from building up in the first place.
Okay, Jane was on. She says she's a Golden Labrador, 4 years of age. Great Nick, loves the company. Everything is going honky-dory. We just noticed that he seems to be licking his front paw an awful lot. We looked at it a couple of times, couldn't find anything wrong. We don't know what's going. He was back licking it again this morning. That's
a thing called pododermatitis.
Okay.
It could be an infection in the paw. If it's very recent, I suspect it might be a type of a chilblain or a frostbite rash from the recent cold weather.
And I see even cats are doing that outside, and I was watching them licking their paw, and they're just at it constantly.
At
no,
the
it wasn't
moment,
hours, but I just saw it, and I saw a dog doing it quite recently as well.
Yeah, so at the moment, that's I suppose the word for it is a chilblain.
Yeah.
A chilblain is a type of a frostbite where they can get this little bit of inflammation at the nail blade. On a front claw or a front toe. One thing that'll help is wash your dog's feet in warm water when they come back in from outside and dry their feet.
Okay, good one. Good. So it's a good little bit of a tip for you as well. Good morning. This isn't our cat, but she is with us all the time. Is there a way would know if she is neutered, or can I give him a worm dose at any time? Or, as we don't know who owns him, we know very little about him. We got this little house for him, and he sleeps it in at night. Nice little
we have
ginger cat.
Nice little ginger cat.
There,
okay,
I think.
So a ginger cat is probably a male.
Yeah.
A high percentage of gingers are males. Curious thing with cats, the coloration, the markings are gender linked.
Oh, are they?
Some of the genes, yeah. Like, for instance,
the tabbies I know are all female, aren't they?
Yeah, tabbies are usually female. Gingers are usually toms. Tortoise shells are usually female, and so on. So the colour and gender link is there with cats, but not with dogs. So that's probably a little male.
Right.
Sure, he probably is neutered.
Yeah.
And folks, the only advice I'd say is just pop into the vets and have a checkup. So that cat needs a worm dose, needs a vaccination against flu, needs a little bit of a checkup, and clarify for sure, is it a male or a female?
Yeah.
And is it neutered? Probably is.
He looks pretty comfortable there, even though he's a stray. But
So
obviously, he's probably somebody that if he's sitting up on a couch and just relaxed, he's probably used to people.
He has an owner.
Yeah, he has an owner somewhere else.
Yeah.
So if you're anybody out there, I don't know what neck of the woods you are, caller. I think it could possibly be around Newbridge, but maybe there's somebody who's missing a ginger. We'll let you know about it. If you want to contact us directly, we'll give it an SOS for today. Right, that's it. Done and dusted for today. Des, absolutely brilliant as
great.
Always. Nice bit of an all-round
Little
chat
thing for
that.
January, tip of the day on Instagram. Folks, if you don't follow us on Instagram, I'd love a few extra followers on the Des the Vet Instagram page.
Yeah.
I'm doing a tip of the day.
Right.
A few seconds of a little tip of the day every day for January.
Okay, good. Good idea. Well done. Cheers.
It's a pet's life with Gym Dog, Ireland's first pet resort by Des the Vet. Managed by vets, loved by pets. Daycare, vet care, premium pet food and grooming. Visit a petslife.ie.